Hi everybody, this is Bob Iacchino from Path Trading Partners along with my co-founder Mike Arnold. It is September 3rd. And this is a Path Chat educational update covering cryptocurrency. Specifically, Ethereum is the example that we're talking about in this particular video. We're not really doing, well, we are doing an update like we always do. But we're also addressing a question in this video where somebody asked us if we could do a tutorial on how to look for signs to establish a long. And the example this person used was in ETH. So we've got Ethereum up on the screen right now. What Mike is going to talk about, he's going to show you 2 or 3 different examples of how you can enter. But the fact of the matter is that part of the reason we do these as educational updates is everybody is different and everybody has a different goal. And you can't get a proper tutorial, one that's going to work for you, one that's going to fit your needs, unless we actually know what you're doing. Now, that isn't an invitation to tell us what you're trying to do because there's too much we would need to know to be able to do this over YouTube. But the essence of it is this. If you're somebody that is looking to buy cryptocurrencies, which are going to have an upward bias, the vast majority of the solid technology cryptocurrencies are going to have an upward bias for a while. There's going to be volatility. There's going to be regulations potentially. There's going to be changes in technology that will collapse one all at once. But until that happens, they're going to have a bit of an upward bias. So when you talk about looking to establish a long, are you looking to establish a long trade, a long investment, a long-term holding? There's just too many different variables of what you could do. If you notice some of the other videos, Mike has always said things like, we think this is going here and this is a good place to accumulate. When Mike says that, we're talking to investors that just want to slowly build a long position in the particular cryptocurrency that we're covering. Other times we talk about establishing a long here or a short here. That's for the traders and we give targets. We always react to what the market does. So if you're somebody, the person who asked that question or the person who's listening to this right now, somebody who's saying, I just want to buy these things at a good spot and hang on to them. There's going to be 2 or 3 or 4 or even more different times during down moves where it's a good and responsible place to establish a long that you're going to hold on for a while. That will generally apply to someone who doesn't really care if it goes down, but they just don't want to buy ad hoc. They just don't want to pull numbers out of their behind and say, I'm going to buy it when it goes here. Why? Well, I don't really know. Mike actually addresses that in a lot of those videos, and he's going to show you a couple of examples of how you can enter on this particular video. But if you're a trader, pay closer attention to what Mike talks about in terms of the 15-minute chart. Also, Mike addresses being an aggressive trader or a conservative trader. How much are you willing to lose? Risk and reward are inexorable. You can't separate the two. So if you're an aggressive trader, know that a lot fewer of your trades are going to work out, but the ones that work out are going to work out for a lot more money. That's how I would define an aggressive trader. I've been doing this for coming up on 25 years now, and I can name on maybe 4 or 5 times, I can count on one hand the amount of times I've bought the low and sold the high. So if that's your goal, it's a little unrealistic in any kind of trading. If you're an investor, you don't really care if it goes down. You just want to look for consistent places where, okay, this is a responsible place to add to my core position because it may turn up here. Or even if it goes a little bit lower, no problem. I'll wait till the next responsible place to what they call in the equity markets dollar cost average, or bring my average price down. So there's a lot that goes into that. And we could probably do a much more detailed video on this, but I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Mike to just kind of give you an example in Ethereum of what he talks about when he's talking about accumulation levels and drawing a trend line and waiting for it to enter a clear path in the R zone, etc. I'm still going to highly recommend watching our technical series because that stuff will help you decide when to add on or when to accumulate your core position or when to take trades. Mike, it's all yours.
Thank you, Bob. Ethereum US dollar holding above this key 25% Gann level and the rising rotation zone. This is a very critical level. If we do get a close below that, then we'll be watching for pullbacks to the 308 to 300 area, really 297 to 308, where we also have the rising 50-day exponential moving average coming in, and the prior breakout zone and the 37.5% Gann level. So to address some questions on different ways to enter this, depends on what kind of trader you are or investor and what your overall position is, and if you're trading around a core position or you're just trading it. For example, on a 4-hour chart, a conservative trader or investor might wait till it gets above this trend line. Then they might wait for above the rotation zone, because that's even simpler, or they might wait for above the defining point like we talk about in our trend line videos. That would be a conservative entry, which would also take you back above this 12.5% GAN level, which would be an entry that is, you know, not very aggressive. You're not buying the lows, but also you know that price is headed back up and will probably retest the end of the clear path and maybe the most recent highs. And you might have more of a scalper trader who goes down to like here's an example on a 15-minute chart. You know, we have a really nice divergence down here. So for people that know what divergences are, you know, on the indicator, this is nice RSI. We happen to like, if you're using an RSI indicator, 5 period is really nice for these shorter term charts. So that trader might say, okay, we have higher low in the indicator, a lower low in price, so that was a classic divergence. I might buy here, you know, or another trader might be a little less aggressive and say, okay, we have a properly drawn path trend line. I'm going to wait till it gets above that level and the rotation zone pulls back and gets in here. But both those are going to be more aggressive trades. Another trader might look at the 1-hour chart. So it really depends what kind of trader you are, what kind of investor, what your risk tolerance is. Now, this 15-minute trader might also say, look, if it goes back down, this is just a trade for me. If we get a move below this most recent swing low, I'm back out and I'm going to look for another entry, you know, when we establish another pattern I'm looking for. So that's just your overall key different ways you could possibly enter. There's hundreds of different trading strategies and time frames to enter on. What's most important to us on the longer term chart is that it's holding above the rotation zone. And again, if we do get to close below this 330 level, which would also close below the rotation zone, we will be watching for a bigger pullback. So dipping toes in the water here, but also trading around the core position, and will be willing to enter on that bigger pullback. That's all we have for you on this Ethereum update. Back to you, Bob.
Thanks for that, Mike, and thank you guys for watching. Please keep the questions coming. I hope this answered the specific person's question. If not, feel free to ask a follow-up, and we'll do our best to address it. Cheers, guys. Please hit like and subscribe. We'd love to keep this going, and we really appreciate you helping grow our channel. Cheers, everyone. Thanks.